Hello my sweets, it's Keisha. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you for choosing to watch my video. If you love winter decor that's beautiful and budget friendly, you're in the right place. In this video, I'll show you how I turned simple Dollar Tree supplies into a gorgeous winter shadow box scene that's sure to add a touch of magic to your holiday display. For this project, I'll be using 4 of these pieces of craft wood from Dollar Tree. I have an 8x10 canvas. It's one of the flat ones, the art canvas. I'll also be using a couple of these DIY craft kits, the 3D ones from Dollar Tree, an 8x10 frame, and various colors of paint. And as usual, I will link everything that I've used, or list everything I've used in the description box below. I'm starting this project off with the 8x10 canvas panel, apple barrel acrylic paint in white, English navy, and jet black. After placing each color on my palette, I wet my brush with a little water and load it with the black and the blue. I then make short strokes across the top of the canvas to about 1.5 inches down. As I work my way down, I'm trying to make the color lighter. Once I get to about 1/3 of the way down on my canvas, I used a dry makeup blending brush to swirl and soften the colors. After wiping my brush, I get some white and begin to blend it across the canvas, adding more blue as needed. Then I use my blending brush again to blend the colors across the canvas. I go back into the white with minimal cleaning of the brush and paint across again using a crisscross motion. Then blend up using the blending brush. Next, you'll see that I add more white and a little bit of black to my brush to add a small pocket of gray into the middle bottom of the canvas. Then I add more white and blend. I cleaned my brush, then added more blue to the top and blended it until I was satisfied with the way the background looked. I am by no means a picture painter, so I used parts of a video on Tracy Kiernan's channel. I skipped around the video for pieces that I wanted to add to my background. She does an excellent job at explaining her style of painting and her technique. I'll link her channel and video in the description box below. Please go and give it a watch if you are wanting to recreate this project. The beautiful thing about paint is, if you aren't happy with the results, you can paint right over it. That's what I'm doing now, and I'll let this play out until I get to the next part. Next, I take a stencil brush and wet the tip of the brush with water. Load some white paint and splatter the paint across the canvas to make a snow effect. To make the stars, I am mixing white and yellow. I take a round pointy brush and add a dot to the canvas, then use my finger to blend the color out using a circular motion. Then I make a vertical line starting from the center moving up, then from the center moving down. I do the same horizontally. Next, I make small curves at the inner corners to make a diamond shape. Then do diagonal lines starting from the center and moving out. Next, I extend the vertical and horizontal lines lightly and place another dot of the yellow and white paint in the middle. Next, I proceed to make more stars in the sky and then set it aside to dry. Once dry, I mark off an 1.5 inch line from the bottom with a white pencil, and this will be the snow line. On my palette, I have white and blue. I will use my brush going across the canvas from left to right with the white paint, creating the snowy ground. Then I take a little bit of the blue to blend in to add some depth. Once I'm satisfied, I set it aside to dry. Now that it's dry, I'm using a small stiff brush and the black and English navy to make some trees. So I mixed the two colors to make a dark blue and then made my tree trunk. To make the branches using the same color, I tapped the brush in a zigzag formation, getting wider as I got to the bottom of the trunk. To add more dimension, I'm coming in with bright green and mixing it with black to make it darker. I'm using paint colors I have and making it work. Then I use the same zigzag tapping technique without covering all of the black layer. Next, wiping off the brush, not cleaning, I go into the white and add the snow layer. Once I like the way it looks, I set it aside to dry. Now that the paint is dry, I come back in with a round pointy brush and white paint to add another layer of snow on and around the trees, and then set it aside to dry. So now I have more of the English navy and a little drop of black, and then the bright green and a little drop of black. I'm going to go ahead and do these trees now. These are from two separate packages of the 3D DIY packs. One of them came with the Santa Claus in it, and the other one came with the house in it. But I'm going to go ahead and mix in the black with the blue again. And I'm just going to do the same thing that I did before. I think I need just a little bit more black. You want to always be careful with adding black to your colors, because black will definitely take over. So now I'm going to just go ahead and do the same thing, but since we already have the tree shape, I'm just going to go right over it. Now I'm just going to stop before I get to the hilly part that looks like snow. Okay, so now I'm going to come in. I'm actually going to rinse out the brush again, and I'm going to mix up the black and the green color. And I'm just going to do the same thing, but I'm going to leave some of the black showing to hopefully make it look like it has the shadows like the other painted trees. And I'm going to stop before I get all the way to the trunk. Okay, so now I'm just going to wipe out the color, and I'm going to come into this white. And because these trees aren't dried all the way, it's going to mix in a little bit with the green that's there, and that's okay. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do this other one the same way. I'm not trying to cover up all of the green or the black here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let these dry down, and I'm going to go ahead and start these here. So I'm going to take all of this color back out, and I'm going to just do the same process with these trees here. Once these are dry, I will be back with you. So these have had a chance to dry down pretty good. So now I'm going to come back in with this round brush here and add in the snow. A little bit more like heavy in some spots. And I think with these ones, since they're on a shape that's already the tree, I'm going to mainly focus on where the actual branches are. To make the to make the snow. Well, I was gonna say realistic, but these trees aren't realistic, so there's that. But I guess we just kind of want to make it look like, well, I want to make it look like it's something that's a possibility, if I'm making any sense. So I'm gonna go ahead and do all this here. And also, while I was away and I started painting this one, I realized I didn't look at the bases to see where they were going to land on the canvas that I did. So I will show you how I had to go ahead and set it up and what I had to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish these off and let them completely dry. And then I'll be back with the next step. Oh, before I go, I'm going to go ahead and go in here and paint these white, the little hill parts here. Just going to paint them white, kind of come up on the tree a little bit to make it look like the snow is kind of building up on the tree trunk. And so that's what I'm going to do with this part here. I'm not going to go into the tabs because they are a little bit, on some of them, they're a little bit tighter. So I'm just going to go straight across the bottom here. Just like that. So the paint has had a chance to dry on all of these. And while I had the white paint out, I just went ahead and painted the bases. So next what I want to do is I have a little bit of matte Mod Podge in this bowl here, and I have some white glitter that I want to go ahead and add some to that. And then I'm just going to do some little highlights over the snowy areas just to give it a little shine. So I'm going to go ahead and mix this in, and it's just a really small amount. Well, at least I tried to make it a small amount, just to dab here and there onto the trees. And I'm also going to be doing the bases where the snow is around the trunk of the tree. Okay. I'm just going to offload this off onto this. Got a good amount. So I just have a smaller brush here. I'm just going to go in to this, and I'm just going to dab a little bit over the snowy areas. Okay. And so just so you can see what I was talking about down here, down by the trunk, I'm just going to go ahead and apply some of that down here too. So I'm going to go ahead and do this part. I'm also going to go ahead and do the entirety of the bases here. And then once they're dry, I will be back with the next step. So next what I want to do is work on the frame. And I've already taken it apart, and I have the glass set aside in a safe spot until I can get back to it. So I'm going to remove, of course, the innards. And then what I did was I already pried off the rest of them, but I just took a pair of pliers and pulled out this little piece of metal here because I'm not going to need it. And those were really easy to pull out. So I also have my wood here to the side, and these are pieces of craft wood from Dollar Tree, and they are about 12 inches by 2 inches. I'm not quite sure of what the thickness is here. It's about 3/8 if I'm reading my, yeah, a little less than 3/8, so I'm like an eighth. Yeah, wide, thick. So now what I want to do is I'm going to have to cut these down because I want them to be able to sit on the inside rim here to be able to house the canvas and still be like a shadow box. So what I'm going to do now is measure off where I need to cut this down. Pencil. And I'm just sticking one end into the edge here. And then I'm going to take my pencil and go right where it meets in the corner and just do a little tick mark so I know that's where I need to cut. And I'm going to mark off another one, so one for the top and one for the bottom. Okay, so I'll need to cut those down there like that. Now with the side ones, so I'm just going to do a basic box. I'm not going to get fancy with any mitering or anything like that. With this one, it's going to need to be from the inside of this piece of wood to the inside of this piece of wood. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and go cut these down first and then fit them, and then I'll be back to make sure that I have these accurate. So I had a couple of realizations after I had cut these down and give them a quick sand. Number one is I did not think about if these were going to fit on the inside of the frame. Now there is just a lip hanging over the edge of each of these. So what I'm going to do is once I get this glued down together is I'm going to sand off, if I need to, because it's just a little hair that it's off, sand off the edge to make it flush with the piece underneath. The next thing is that these are just plain pieces of wood. So what I need to do is paint this to the corresponding edges of the background. So I have this to the side. So what I'm going to do now is I need to line this up sort of like this, and then I need to go ahead and paint this side. I think is going to be this side is going to be the darkest color that I had, so it was that blue color mixed with black, and then I'm going to try to replicate the gradient down the side, and this end nothing really needs to happen with it. Now the edges I also noticed were going to be visible through the glass, so I'm going to need to come either with a different color here or maybe paint the edges of them gold. It's just a little sliver that's going to be visible. So I may just go ahead and paint them with the gold color to match the frame in the hopes that it'll blend in. Those are the things that I come to realize as I was sanding. So I'm going to go ahead and with this one, I'm going to set it to the side for now because I don't really need to work on those too much or on that too much. But I am going to go ahead and get the paint colors back out and remixed and try to match the edges here with this. So I've got my top and my side pieces painted up and they're just off to the side here drying. And now what I want to do is work on the base. So I am going to glue these two pieces down using some premium wood glue, my Titebond. Before I do that though, I did make some markings on here and here, because that's where a set of trees are going to go. And then I have these two marked because that's where the other 3 trees are going to go. Now, I didn't mark this one because the tree doesn't actually fit this space. It's meant to fit this space, these 3 here. So I'm going to have to cut off the bottom peg when it comes to this 3 set here. But I did mark them on the inside so that when the piece goes down, it's going to cover that up. So I'm going to go ahead and take my wood glue here. So I'm just going to go flush to this edge here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set this aside to dry now. And I'll likely get some clamps out just to make sure they don't slide anywhere. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm cleaning up all of the overspill of glue. And I'll be back once that is dry. The glue has had a chance to dry on these 2 pieces here that I put together. And now what I want to do is go ahead and fill in some of these holes that I'm not going to be using. But before I do that, I had this sitting out here to remind me to tell you that what I did was I went ahead and painted this with the gold. It's brushed antique gold by Faux in their brushed metals line. And I did put a coat of white paint on here before I actually did the gold, because this edge of this has that dark, I guess where the laser cut it has that dark spot. So I wanted it to be able to match together. So now I'm going to go ahead and fill these holes up with hot glue just to get them out of the way. And I'm not going to do these 2 holes and these 2 holes because I want to be able to put the trees in there. And how many of you, when I started to glue this on, looking at the screen like, you need to account for that, because I didn't. So this did set overnight for the glue to dry. When I came back in this morning, I did a dry fit and realized that these side ones were now too long. So I went ahead and just took a little bit off of the bottoms of them. So if you do recreate this project, you just want to be aware of that. Now with this one here, I am going to just make sure it's a little bit concave, because this is the one where the 3 trees are going to be. And remember, I have to cut off the tab, but I still don't want that to interfere with it sitting flush. And next, what I want to do, because I really am not, I don't really care for how this looks. So I want to go ahead and add some of this snow from Dollar Tree, as the faux snow, on top of this. But I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and add these on first so that I don't accidentally go over where I need these to go, if I'm making any sense at all. So I'm going to go ahead and get these scissors and see if the scissors will cut through this. Oh, very nicely. And I'm just going to, let's try to fit it and see. Okay. I'm just going to take a little bit of sandpaper or sanding block here and just take some of this down, because it is a pretty tight fit and I'd like to push it all the way down in there before I insert the glue. Okay, so that one's ready to go. Let's see the other set, which is this set. And the glitter dried, I didn't show you that. Let's see if you can, I don't think you can really catch it, but it's there. It's very subtle in real life. in person, real life. Wow. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with my Titebond Quick and Thick. And first I'm going to put some down in this hole. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and insert this one. And then insert this one. And this is how that looks so far. Yeah? Okay. So now I'm going to add some more Quick and Thick. And now that I've covered all of these holes here, I don't have to worry too much about the glue sinking down. I'm just going to get a paintbrush to spread out that glue some. Oh dear. I need to back up a little bit. I didn't account for this space. So let me get this glue off of here. And I need to make sure that I leave enough space for when this piece gets put on here. So let me measure and see if I can get a line on there. I'm going to turn it this way. And I'm just going to go in with my pencil. So now I know not to go past this line right here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and mark the other side. These hot glue strings. Oh my goodness. Do you see this? What is my life? Okay. Okay. We're gonna handle this. Make sure that you account for where the trees are gonna land as well. Did I mark that good? Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to do one more thing here so that once I get the snow on, I can address this tree here that's overhanging. Okay, so I've marked off where I'm going to need to trim down this tree since I've already glued it in without even thinking about test fitting the sides. So let me go ahead and get the snow down before this glue dries. Just have a little scratch piece of paper here. Just going to pour this down over the glue. And I'm going to press it. Okay. Get you a little bit closer. And I'm going to turn it around and finish off the back. Okay, so here's that. And so now I'm going to get this cleaned up, and then I'll be right back to address this tree here. Okay, so I'm back to go ahead and address the fact that this side is going to be hanging over the edge of where I need to be. So what I'm going to do for the base portion, we're just going to take a blade here, box cutter. Could use an X-Acto knife as well, but I'm just going to take this off. Just want to be careful doing this so that you don't accidentally cut yourself. I'm just going to take this off little by little until I can get it behind this line here. Now, if I had been paying attention to the edges, I likely would have moved this over one or tried a different configuration to make sure that everything was going to be inside of my limits here. But we're here now and we're getting it fixed. So I've cut that off so it's no longer over this area here. And now what I'm going to do is just take my scissors and I'm just going to cut a tiny bit off of this first one. Okay. I'm going to hang this off of the edge here. Sorry, I'm going out of frame, but I'm going to try to see if I can use my blade here to score it. So that's what I'm doing off to the side here. I apologize. You can't see what I'm doing. All I'm doing is scoring by that line. Okay, let's make sure now, before I make any further assumptions. And I just need to take a little bit more off of this one. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, since it is a little bit awkward, to show you how I'm doing it since it's off the edge of the table. Then I will be back with the next step. I've gotten the edge of this all trimmed down, and so now it's ready to go. So next what I want to do is to go ahead and put this together. So I'll be using this Titebond premium wood glue, and I'm just going to go ahead and start gluing the sides on first, and then I'm going to be using some tape to act as kind of like a clamp to hold it together while it dries. Adding this last piece, I just wanted to add that if you don't have the a way to cut this actual wood, these wood pieces here, this is something that you could put together with foam core board. Another option is you could actually use cardboard if you wanted to. You would have to, build it up. As far as the thickness of this goes, you may need to build it up a little bit if you do want to go the cardboard route, but that most certainly is an option to do as well. So, okay, we don't want to move it too much now. I think what I'm going to do is take the frame and set the frame on it, and hopefully that'll help this to dry kind of square. So that's what it's looking like so far, and really this is beautiful like this, and even without the frame, if you wanted to just do like a backing to it, I think this is just gorgeous. Actually, not to toot my own horn, but here we are tooting the horn. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let this glue dry, and I will be back to work on more assembly. The frame has been drying for a little bit now, so while I was waiting for it to dry out, of course, I decided I wanted to add some lights. So I dug out another pack of these Floral Garden lights from Dollar Tree. It has 12 lights on it, and it's a silver wire. And I'm not sure if Dollar Tree still carries these, but I've had them in my stash for quite a while now, so that's what I'm going to use here. So there's 12 lights, and I want to kind of try to evenly distribute them throughout the back of this here. So I'm going to start by adding one here. Yeah, I'm going to start by adding one probably to about the middle of the tree here. And I think maybe I'll just do that for all of them, to add them to about the middle of the tree. Hopefully that looks okay in the end result. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a little dab of hot glue, and then I'm just going to lay this wire right across it, because at the end of this whole thing, I don't want to be able to see any of the wire. Okay, so let me turn it around so you can kind of see what the inner part of it looks like. And I think this wire is thin enough that once I put the backing on, it'll be okay. The only thing I'm worried about at this point is the thickness of this, but we're here now, so we'll see what happens once I get everything closed in. So what I'm going to do at this point is go ahead and get a little bit of Quick and Thick over the areas that are going to be a little bit more visible, like this one here that I'm gluing down, and then throw some snow on top of it, and then I think we'll be ready to fully assemble. So I'll return in just a moment. I frame out, and the piece of plastic goes inside of it, and I've already given this a clean on this side with some rubbing alcohol. What I'm going to do now is use this Gorilla Clear Grip that is a contact adhesive, and I'm going to spread some out along the inside of the frame and along the outer edge of the frame. As per the directions of this glue, you're supposed to do it on the two surfaces. So I'm just going to apply that here, and I don't want it too thick because I really don't want it to be visible from the other side. So I want to try to minimize the amount of squeeze out that I may encounter. So I'm basically just going to apply this in a thin layer all the way around. I probably don't need to do it all the way around, really, but I'm going to. Okay. I think I've stalled long enough. I'm going to go ahead and get this up and stick it in there. And I can see I did go over. So I'm going to tip it, and then I'm going to turn it over. To give it a clean up. There's my silicone tool. I'm just gonna use this tool to scrape it up a little bit. Oh dear, just broke the seal. Oh, this is a mess. Okay, I think that's the best I'm going to get it. So now I'm going to take this tape up, and I need to glue this piece in. Okay, so let me slide this over here. And I think this time I'm only going to do the corners in the hopes that I won't have that much cleanup. But the first thing I need to do before I even do any of that is give this inside glass a clean. So I have my rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle here. And then before I just assume that it's going to fit, I'm going to dry fit this back in here. Okay. Yeah, that's going to fit. So only in the corners. Okay. I'm just going to take this and drop it in. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the backing on. Before I do, I realized I forgot to mention that because I had put these trees on the side and then I put these on the side, these aren't as visible as I would like them to be. So I went ahead and just put one here in the middle. So we have an extra one in the middle. I did that off camera, but I just wanted to make sure I told you that. So now I think I'm going to go with the quick and thick for this side. Let me just make sure the lights work one more time, and they do, before I start sealing this all off. And I'm just going to run some quick and thick around the edge. Okay, so I'm going to use some more tape here to hold this part while it's drying. I think while I'm waiting, I will figure out how I'm going to attach this battery pack on here. And I think I'm going to have to depending on where I put it anyway, put a hanger on the back of it. So I will be back momentarily. Okay, so this has had a chance to dry. I did end up having to leave it overnight, but I did paint the sides, and I also attached the battery box over here. This is at the bottom. And then I also placed the command strip on there, and this is the other side to go on the wall wherever I decide to place it. Now, I have not looked at it since I turned it over yesterday to glue everything together. I wanted to turn it over and look at it with you. So I'm going to turn on the light, and then I'm going to reveal it, and hopefully it's all intact, because I am nervous about that. So let me go ahead and turn it over so we can look at it together. And here it is. And this is so pretty to me. Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. Let's bring it up closer without the glare. Yeah, I really love how this turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and take final pictures, and you stay tuned for that. I hope this winter shadow box DIY brought a little magic to your holiday season. If you love this project, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more budget-friendly crafts, and let me know in the comments what winter scene you'd create. Thank you so much for watching. Stay cozy, stay creative, and I'll see you in the next video.